Hey there, quantum enthusiasts! Welcome back to our series, The History and the Future of Everything Quantum Related. Today, we're diving into Part 9, where we'll continue to explore this fascinating world in its entirety. So, let's jump right in.
Plausibility, as you know, refers to the appearance of truth or believability, influencing how ideas, theories, or narratives are perceived and accepted. Let's start our journey with the ancient foundations of plausibility. In the Greek and Roman eras, rhetoric and persuasion were heavily influenced by plausibility. Philosophers like Aristotle emphasized ethos, or the credibility of the speaker, as a crucial factor in determining the plausibility of their arguments. As time progressed, plausibility evolved alongside advancements in science, philosophy, and culture. For example, in the Middle Ages, plausibility played a significant role in the development of natural philosophy, which sought to explain the natural world using reason and logic. In the modern era, plausibility has become even more complex, as it intersects with topics such as cognitive biases, the psychology of belief, and the role of social media in shaping our perceptions of reality.
Did you know that the concept of probability dates back to ancient times? Early humans used informal probabilistic reasoning to survive, such as estimating the likelihood of finding food or encountering danger based on past experiences. As time passed, people started to develop more formal methods to understand and reason about uncertainty. This evolution has significantly influenced fields like mathematics, science, philosophy, and decision-making. One of the most intriguing aspects of this history is the development of games of chance, which have played a crucial role in shaping our understanding of probability. Did you know that the history of games of chance is a captivating journey through human history? These games, often involving randomness and probability, have played a significant role in entertainment, religious rituals, and even decision-making processes. Let's start our journey with the prehistoric origins of games of chance. Archaeological evidence suggests that games of chance date back to the Stone Age, with objects like an ancient dice found in a 3,000-year-old Egyptian tomb. This discovery sheds light on the early gambling implements that were used in games of chance. Archaeological finds have uncovered objects like an ancient Chinese dice dating back to 3000 BC and even earlier evidence of gambling in the form of carved bones from around 4000 BC. As we move through history, we see games of chance evolving and adapting to different cultures and time periods. From the ancient Chinese game of Keno to the Roman game of Hypothesis, games of chance have always been a part of human culture. The Greeks and Romans were known for their love of gambling, with dice games and card games being popular forms of entertainment. In fact, the Romans even had a goddess of luck, Fortuna, who was often depicted holding a set of dice. As we move into the Middle Ages, gambling took on a new role in society. It became a way for the poor to make a living, while the rich used it to flaunt their wealth. In the 17th century, gambling was even used as a form of taxation in some countries. But let's not forget the role of games of chance in our modern world. They're still a popular form of entertainment, and they've even been used in decision-making processes such as the lottery. Did you know that the concept of random patterns spans mathematics, science, philosophy, and art, reflecting humanity's attempts to understand and harness randomness in nature and human-made systems? Early humans were fascinated by the seemingly random arrangements of stars in the sky, the patterns of clouds, and the ever-changing movements of water. These observations led to the development of early mathematical systems and philosophical inquiries into the nature of order and chaos. As time went on, the study of random patterns continued to evolve. Scientists began to uncover the hidden order behind seemingly random phenomena, such as the patterns of waves in the ocean or the distribution of particles in a gas. Artists, too, were inspired by these patterns, incorporating them into their works and exploring the boundaries between order and chaos. From prehistoric and ancient times, humans have been fascinated by random patterns, observing them in the arrangement of stars, the shape of clouds, and the patterns of animal skins. These intuitions have shaped our understanding of the universe and our place in it. In the natural sciences, random patterns are observed in everything from the chaotic movements of weather systems to the unpredictable behavior of subatomic particles. In art, random patterns have been used to create abstract works that defy traditional aesthetics. And in computer science, random patterns are used to generate algorithms that mimic natural processes, from the formation of snowflakes to the growth of trees. So, the next time you encounter a random pattern, whether it's in nature, art, or technology, remember that it's a testament to the human spirit's endless quest for understanding and creativity. Rationality, broadly defined as the use of logical reasoning and evidence-based thinking, has roots in ancient philosophy and has developed through the ages alongside science, ethics, and societal organization. Did you know that rationality can be traced back to ancient times? In early human societies, myths and oral traditions played a significant role in shaping people's understanding of the world. As societies evolved, so did their understanding of rationality. The ancient Greeks, for example, developed a sophisticated system of logic that laid the groundwork for modern rationality. Their philosophers, such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, paved the way for rational thought. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, and we see the development of scholasticism, which emphasized the importance of reason in understanding the natural world. This period saw the birth of modern science and the scientific method. As we move into the modern era, rationality has continued to evolve, shaping our understanding of the world and guiding our behavior. That refers to our human tendency to perceive reality selectively, often influenced by our biases, desires, or limited perspectives. This idea has its roots in philosophy, psychology, and neuroscience, and its history is intertwined with humanity's quest to understand how we construct and interpret reality. In ancient times, philosophers like Plato explored selective perception in his famous allegory of the cave. In this allegory, Plato describes a group of people who have spent their entire lives chained in a cave facing a wall. The only light they see is the flickering shadows cast by a fire behind them. They mistake these shadows for reality, unaware that there's a whole world outside their cave. This allegory highlights how our perceptions can be shaped by our experiences, biases, and limited perspectives. It's a reminder that we should always strive to see the world as it truly is, rather than through the lens of our own selective illusions. Selective illusion reveals humanity's ongoing struggle to discern reality from distortion. From ancient philosophical musings to modern cognitive science, the exploration of how we selectively perceive and interpret the world continues to challenge our understanding of truth, fostering deeper awareness of the limitations of human perception. Now, the Sigma male is a relatively recent addition to social and psychological discourse, popularized primarily by internet culture, self-help communities, and various online subcultures. So, let's explore the history of the Sigma male and how it ties into the evolution of masculine archetypes and social dynamics. First, let's look at the early foundations of masculine archetypes. In ancient civilizations, masculinity was often portrayed through various archetypes. These archetypes were based on ideas about dominance, independence, and personal identity. For example, in ancient Greece, the hero archetype was the epitome of masculinity. This archetype was characterized by strength, courage, and a willingness to face adversity. In ancient Rome, the warrior archetype was the embodiment of masculinity. This archetype was all about strength, bravery, and a sense of duty. So, how does the Sigma male fit into this narrative? Well, the Sigma male is a modern archetype that has emerged from the evolution of masculine archetypes and social dynamics. The Sigma male is often portrayed as an independent, self-reliant individual who rejects societal norms and expectations. This archetype is often associated with ideas about dominance, personal identity, and a rejection of traditional masculine roles. Did you know that the history of stem cells is a rich tapestry of groundbreaking scientific discoveries and ethical debates? Let's take a chronological journey through the key events and milestones in the history of stem cell research. Early theories and concepts. The idea of stem cells dates back to the 17th century when the Dutch microscopist Antoine van Leeuwenhoek first observed the cellular structure of plants and animals. 19th century discoveries. In the 1850s, German biologist Ernst Haeckel coined the term stem cell and proposed the idea of embryonic stem cells. 20th century advancements. In the 1960s, Australian biologist John Gurdon and American scientist Robert Briggs made significant breakthroughs in the field of nuclear transfer, paving the way for cloning. 21st century breakthroughs. In the early 2000s, Japanese scientist Shinya Yamanaka made history by reprogramming adult cells into stem cells, earning him the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 2012. Did you know that the term Zeitgeist actually comes from the German language? It translates to spirit of the time or spirit of the age, and it refers to the intellectual, cultural, and moral climate of a particular period in history. This term captures the collective attitudes, beliefs, and ideas that characterize that era. The concept of Zeitgeist has evolved over time, shaped by various intellectual, artistic, and historical movements. Let's take a journey through time and uncover how this term has evolved throughout history. First, let's look at the origins of the term in the 18th century. It was during this time that the word Zeitgeist was coined, and it was used to describe the collective spirit of the age. Now, let's fast forward to the 19th century. During this time, the term took on a new meaning as it was used to describe the intellectual and cultural climate of a particular period. In the 20th century, the concept of Zeitgeist continued to evolve as it began to encompass the moral and ethical climate of a period. And finally, in the 21st century, the term has taken on a new meaning as it's now used to describe the collective consciousness of a generation. That's a brief history of the term Zeitgeist and its evolution over time. Synergy is the idea that the combined effect of a group of elements working together is greater than the sum of their individual effects. This concept has its roots in ancient times and has evolved to play a significant role in modern business and social dynamics. So, let's start at the beginning. In the early days, synergy was primarily a philosophical and scientific concept. It was during this time that thinkers and scientists began to explore the idea of the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. As we move into the 19th century, synergy took on a more practical application. It was during this time that the concept of synergy was first applied in business settings. Companies began to realize the potential of working together to achieve greater results than they could individually. Fast forward to the present day, and synergy has become a cornerstone of modern business and social dynamics. It's not just about companies working together, but about individuals, communities, and even nations working together to achieve greater outcomes. Supersymmetry is a concept that comes from theoretical physics and refers to a proposed symmetry between two basic types of particles, bosons and fermions. Bosons are particles that follow Bose-Einstein statistics and mediate forces, like photons, which mediate the electromagnetic force. On the other hand, fermions are the building blocks of matter, such as electrons and quarks, which make up atoms. Supersymmetry suggests that for every particle in the standard model of particle physics, there is a superpartner with the same mass and opposite charge. This means that for every particle, there's a corresponding superpartner that has the same mass but an opposite charge. This concept is still being studied and researched as it could potentially explain some of the mysteries of the universe, such as dark matter and the Higgs boson. This idea suggests that the universe undergoes a series of repeated processes or transformations over immense periods of time. This concept has been explored in various philosophical, religious, and scientific traditions with a rich history that blends ancient cosmologies with modern theories in cosmology, physics, and philosophy. First, let's explore the ancient and mythological cycles which predate the scientific era. In Hindu cosmology, for instance, the universe is believed to undergo a cycle of creation, preservation, and destruction, repeating every 4.3 billion years. This cycle is known as the Kalpa. Next, we'll delve into the Islamic tradition, where the universe is thought to undergo a cycle of creation and destruction every 50,000 years. This concept is known as the Day of Judgment. Finally, we'll discuss the concept of universe cycles in modern science. In the Big Bang Theory, the universe is believed to have undergone a massive expansion from a single point and then cooled and expanded over time. Neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP for short, is a psychological approach that focuses on the connection between neurological processes, language, and behavioral patterns. It emerged in the 1970s and has had a significant impact on therapy, communication, and personal development. At the heart of NLP are two key figures, Richard Bandler and John Grinder. These two individuals studied and modeled successful therapists to develop the methodology we know today. The history of NLP is rooted in the 1970s, when these two visionaries began their groundbreaking work. The quantum cycle isn't widely established in scientific literature, but it can be interpreted in various ways depending on the context. So, what is a quantum cycle? Well, it could refer to certain quantum phenomena, quantum mechanics, or even speculative models related to the nature of the universe. To give you a general overview, let's take a look at some key developments in quantum theory. First up, we have the foundation of quantum mechanics, which was established in the early 20th century. This revolutionary theory introduced the concept of quantum particles, such as electrons, and their behavior at the atomic and subatomic levels. Next, we have the development of quantum field theory, which built upon quantum mechanics by introducing the concept of fields and their interactions. This led to the understanding of the strong and weak nuclear forces, as well as the electromagnetic force. Finally, we have the emergence of quantum information theory, which is a branch of quantum mechanics that focuses on the transmission, storage, and processing of information. This has significant implications for modern technology such as quantum computing and cryptography. So, there you have it, folks. A brief overview of the key developments in quantum theory that might indirectly lead to the understanding of quantum cycles in different scientific and philosophical contexts. SoundScan, a term that primarily refers to the music industry tool known as SoundScan or Nielsen SoundScan. This system is used to track the sales of recorded music in the United States and Canada. SoundScan's history is closely tied to the evolution of music sales tracking and the technological changes that led to more accurate and up-to-date reporting of sales data. Let's take a trip down memory lane and explore the early days of music sales tracking before SoundScan. Before SoundScan, the tracking of music sales was done using methods like self-reporting by record companies, which often led to inaccurate and outdated data. In the 1980s, SoundScan was introduced, revolutionizing the way music sales were tracked. With SoundScan, retailers were required to report their sales data to a central database, allowing for more accurate and up-to-date reporting of sales data. This system not only improved the accuracy of sales tracking, but also provided valuable insights into consumer behavior and preferences. Did you know that this symbol has been around for thousands of years, spanning across various disciplines? From mythology and religion to biology and philosophy, the Tree of Life has had different meanings and interpretations throughout history. Let's start with the early symbolism and mythology. The Tree of Life has ancient roots in many cultures and religious traditions, symbolizing growth, fertility, and the connection between the earth and the heavens. It's often seen as a bridge between the spiritual and the physical world, representing the interconnectedness of all living organisms on Earth. As we move into the realm of biology, the Tree of Life takes on a more scientific meaning. It's used to illustrate the evolutionary relationships between species, showing how they're all connected and interdependent. And finally, in philosophy, the Tree of Life represents the quest for knowledge and understanding, symbolizing the journey of human existence. Stealth technology, also known as low observable technology, is a game changer in the military realm. It's all about making objects such as aircraft, missiles, and ships difficult to detect by radar, infrared, sonar, or other detection methods. The history of stealth technology is closely tied to military advancements and the desire to gain a tactical advantage. Its development spans several decades, from its theoretical origins to its practical applications in modern military operations. Stealth technology is a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of innovation. It's a fascinating topic that we hope you'll enjoy learning more about.
Did you know that the term superelectric system is not widely recognized as a standard term, but it could refer to a highly advanced or efficient electrical grid, power system, or energy network? These systems typically involve the integration of advanced technologies, renewable energy sources, and efficient power distribution methods. The history of electricity is a rich and diverse topic, covering a range of technological advances, infrastructure developments, and the emergence of new energy concepts. It's incredible to think about how far we've come in harnessing the power of electricity, and how much further we can go.
From ancient myths to modern scientific advancements, the concept of creating human-like beings or replicating human functions has evolved over time. In ancient civilizations, stories of gods and goddesses, demigods, and other mythological beings were often intertwined with the concept of human-like creations. In the early 20th century, the idea of synthetic humans gained traction in science fiction, with authors like Frankenstein and H.G. Wells exploring the possibilities and potential consequences of creating human-like beings. Fast forward to the present day, and we're witnessing a surge in technological advancements such as robotics and artificial intelligence that are bringing these concepts closer to reality. While fully synthetic humans don't exist in the literal sense, the idea of creating human-like beings or replicating human functions continues to captivate our imagination. This is a tale of technological evolution and scientific progress, combining advances in artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, sensor technology, and automotive engineering. So, let's jump right in and explore this fascinating journey. The concept of autonomous transportation dates back to early 20th century visionaries who dreamed of a future where machines would take over the wheel. However, it wasn't until the 1980s that the idea of fully autonomous vehicles began to gain traction. This was thanks to the development of artificial intelligence, which allowed cars to make decisions and navigate roads independently. In the 1990s, the DARPA Grand Challenge was launched, a competition aimed at developing autonomous vehicles that could navigate a challenging off-road course. This event marked a significant milestone in the development of self-driving cars. Since then, we've seen incredible advancements in sensor technology, allowing cars to perceive their surroundings and make decisions based on that information. Machine learning has also played a crucial role, enabling cars to learn from their experiences and improve their performance over time. Finally, automotive engineering has played a key role in making self-driving cars a reality. The development of electric vehicles, for example, has allowed for the integration of complex sensors and computing systems which are essential for autonomous vehicles. Did you know that GPS is a satellite-based navigation system that provides location and time information anywhere on Earth? It's a story of innovation and technological development that has transformed navigation, communication, and many other industries. So, let's dive in and explore the history of GPS. First, let's talk about the early foundations and precursors of GPS, which date back to the 1960s. At that time, humans relied on a variety of tools for navigation, including celestial navigation, which uses the positions of celestial bodies like the sun, moon, and stars to determine a person's position on Earth. But, as we all know, these methods were limited in accuracy and scope. Fast forward to the 1970s, and we see the development of the Transit Navigation Satellite System, which was the first satellite-based navigation system. This system was used by the U.S. Navy for navigation and timekeeping. In the 1980s, the U.S. Department of Defense developed the Navstar Global Positioning System, which is the system we know and use today. The Navstar GPS was designed to provide accurate and reliable positioning, navigation, and timing services to military and civilian users worldwide. And that's a brief overview of the history of GPS. From early discoveries in sound and acoustics to modern electronics, frequencies have played a pivotal role in scientific discovery and technological advancement. So, let's get started. Did you know that the concept of frequencies dates back to ancient times? The earliest recorded discovery of frequencies can be traced back to ancient Greece, where Pythagoras and his followers studied the harmonics of strings. This laid the foundation for our modern understanding of frequencies. Fast forward to the 16th century, and we see the emergence of the first mechanical clocks, which were driven by pendulums. This discovery led to the understanding that the frequency of a pendulum is directly proportional to its length. In the 18th century, the study of frequencies took a leap forward with the discovery of the electromagnetic spectrum. This led to the development of telecommunications and modern electronics, revolutionizing the way we communicate and interact with the world around us. Did you know that the history of drones spans from military experimentation to widespread civilian applications, with rapid advancements in technology that have made drones an integral part of modern life? Let's take a quick trip down memory lane and explore the history of drones. The history of drones can be traced back to the early 1900s, where the concept of unmanned flight was first explored through experiments with kites, balloons, and gliders. However, it wasn't until the early 20th century that true UAVs, as we understand them today, were born. During World War I, the first practical UAVs were developed by the British, who used them for reconnaissance and bombing missions. These early drones were primarily used for military purposes, with the United States and the Soviet Union also experimenting with UAVs during World War II. Fast forward to the 21st century, and drones have evolved significantly. Today, they are used for a wide range of civilian applications, including agriculture, photography, and even delivery services. The technology behind drones has advanced rapidly, with improved flight capabilities, longer ranges, and more advanced sensors. Did you know that the history of global awakenings spans thousands of years and has significantly shaped human history? These periods of profound societal, cultural, spiritual, or intellectual transformation have reshaped our world, often involving shifts in collective consciousness, values, or ideologies. Let's take a look at some of the most significant global awakenings. Spiritual and religious awakenings, ancient to early modern era. This era saw the rise of major religions such as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which significantly impacted human history. The Enlightenment, 17th to 18th century. This period marked a shift in thought, science, and politics, leading to the Age of Reason and the American and French Revolutions. The Industrial Revolution, 18th to 19th century. This era brought about massive changes in technology, society, and the economy, leading to the modern world. The Civil Rights Movement, 20th century. This movement fought for equality and civil rights for all, leading to significant social and political changes. The Digital Revolution, 21st century. This ongoing revolution is transforming the way we live, work, and communicate. That's a wrap on our journey through global awakening. This topic spans centuries and encompasses various traditions, religions, and philosophies. Let's explore its development and influence throughout history. First up, let's talk about Egyptian mysticism. The Hermetic tradition, attributed to the legendary Hermes Trismegistus, was a key part of this ancient civilization's spiritual knowledge. It emphasized the importance of the individual's connection to the divine and the idea of the soul's journey through various realms. Moving on to the Greco-Roman world, we have the Gnostic tradition. This esoteric knowledge focused on the individual's direct experience of the divine, often through mystical experiences. In the medieval period, we see the emergence of the Kabbalah, a Jewish mystical tradition that explores the hidden meanings of the Hebrew Bible. During the Renaissance, we have the emergence of the Rosicrucians, a secret society that sought to revive the ancient wisdom of the past. And finally, in the modern era, we have the Theosophical Society, founded by Helena Blavatsky, which aimed to synthesize the wisdom of various spiritual traditions. Did you know that the study of numbers and their influence on human life dates back thousands of years? Numerology, the mystical study of numbers, has its roots in ancient civilizations such as the Babylonians. They were one of the earliest known cultures to develop a system of numerology which they used to predict the future and understand the universe. As time went on, numerology evolved and spread across the globe, with each culture adding its own unique twist to the concept. For example, in ancient Greece, numbers were seen as a way to understand the divine, while in ancient China, they were used to predict the future and understand the cosmos. Fast forward to the modern era, and we have life path numbers, a concept that's deeply rooted in numerology. Life path numbers are a modern numerological tool used to interpret an individual's core purpose and journey in life, derived from the sum of their birth date. Did you know that this concept has a rich history rooted in speculative fiction, technological advancements, and evolving societal needs? Let's take a quick journey through the history of the metaverse. First up, we have the conceptual origins in speculative fiction. This began in the 1940s and 1950s, where authors like Isaac Asimov and others introduced us to the idea of a virtual world. These early proto-metaverse ideas laid the foundation for what we know today. Next, we have the technological advancements that brought the metaverse to life. The 1980s and 1990s saw the rise of virtual reality VR and augmented reality AR, which allowed us to explore virtual spaces and interact with digital content. Finally, we have the evolution of societal needs. As our world becomes more connected and digital, the need for a shared, virtual space has become increasingly important. The metaverse represents a convergence of gaming, VR, AR, and digital economies, all coming together to create a unique and exciting experience. These materials have a rich history, spanning centuries and reflecting humanity's ingenuity in combining natural and synthetic substances. So, let's dive in and explore the development of hybrid materials. Did you know that hybrid materials have been around for centuries? From ancient civilizations to modern-day technology, these materials have played a crucial role in our history. In fact, some of the earliest examples of hybrid materials can be traced back to 3000 BC, when humans began combining natural and synthetic substances to create innovative and practical materials. One of the earliest examples of hybrid materials is the clay and straw bricks used by ancient civilizations. These bricks were made by mixing clay with straw, creating a stronger and more durable building material than pure clay. This is just one example of how humans have been harnessing the power of hybrid materials for thousands of years. From ancient mythology to modern-day science fiction, the idea of invisibility has been a captivating concept. Did you know that the history of invisibility suits dates back to ancient mythology? Myths from various cultures include references to invisibility, such as the story of Hades, the god of the underworld, who was said to be able to make himself invisible. Now, let's fast forward to the 21st century. While true invisibility remains in the realm of science fiction, significant progress has been made in developing materials and technologies that mimic invisibility. These materials and technologies bend light, camouflage, or cloak objects, bringing us one step closer to the invisibility suits of our dreams. Did you know that prehistoric humans were already fascinated by the concept of balance? They observed balance in nature, such as the harmony of ecosystems, the symmetry of the human body, and the equilibrium in animal movements. For instance, early humans used tools like stone axes and spears, which required physical balance for effective use. They also observed balance in the sky, where the sun, moon, and stars seemed to move in harmony. Archimedes established principles of leverage and equilibrium, laying the foundation for mechanics. Early structures like pyramids and aqueducts required precise balance in design and construction. Ancient Egyptian, Greek, and Roman art emphasized symmetry, which was seen as a form of balance and beauty. The symbol of Lady Justice, holding a scale, represents balance and fairness in legal systems, originating in ancient Egypt's concept of ma'at, order, and justice. Biblical teachings often emphasize balance, such as balancing worldly life with spiritual devotion. The Taoist philosophy emphasized the balance of opposites, light and dark, male and female, active and passive. Balance in life and nature was seen as essential for harmony and health. The concept of dharma, moral duty, and karma, action and consequence, underscores the need for balance in ethical and spiritual life. Buddhism, the middle way, emphasizes balance in life, avoiding both indulgence and extreme asceticism. Practices like yoga, meditation, and mindfulness emphasize mental and emotional balance. Japanese aesthetics wabi-sabi emphasizes balance in asymmetry and imperfection, finding beauty in natural simplicity. Ayurveda focused on balancing the body's three doshas, vata, pitta, kapha, for physical and mental health. Heraclitus advocated for balance in change, seeing the unity of opposites as a fundamental principle of the universe. Aristotle introduced the concept of the golden mean, where virtue lies in balance between extremes, for example, courage as a balance between recklessness and cowardice. Humoral theory proposed by Hippocrates and Galen, this theory posited that health depended on balancing for bodily humors, blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. The golden ratio, used in classical and Renaissance art, for example, Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, reflecting balance in natural proportions. Philosophers like Karl Marx and John Locke debated the balance between individual freedoms and societal responsibilities, influencing governance systems. Claude Bernard and later Walter Cannon developed the concept of homeostasis, describing the body's ability to maintain internal balance despite external changes. Isaac Newton formulated laws of motion and gravitation, explaining balance in terms of forces and equilibrium. Balance became central to engineering, architecture, and physical sciences.
Did you know that the history of pi equations is a journey through mathematics, spanning millennia and involving contributions from ancient civilizations, renowned mathematicians, and modern computational techniques? These equations reflect the quest to understand the relationship between a circle's circumference and its diameter. In the early days, around 2000 BCE, the Babylonians used a geometric approximation to derive pi. Later, around 500 CE, the Greek mathematician Archimedes used a geometric method to calculate pi. In the 16th century, the Indian mathematician Madhava used a series expansion to approximate pi, while in the 17th century, the British mathematician James Gregory used a series expansion to calculate pi. In the 18th century, the Swiss mathematician Leonhard Euler used a series expansion to calculate pi. And in the 20th century, the American mathematician John H. Conway used a series expansion to calculate
Modulation,
pi.
the process of altering a carrier signal to encode information, has been a game-changer in transmitting data over long distances and enabling modern communication systems. Let's take a look at its evolution. Early foundations pre-19th century. Before modulation, communication relied on visual and acoustic signals such as smoke signals, drums, and bells. Early modulation techniques 19th century. The invention of the telegraph in the 19th century marked the beginning of modulation. Morse code, a form of amplitude modulation, was used to transmit messages over long distances. Radio and wireless communication 20th century. The 20th century saw the emergence of radio and wireless communication, which relied on frequency modulation. Digital communication 21st century. In the 21st century, digital communication has taken over with modulation techniques such as digital signal processing and digital modulation being used to transmit data over long distances. Did you know that the history of mtDNA spans from its initial discovery to its critical role in understanding evolution, genetics, and medicine? Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. In the early 19th century, biologists first observed mitochondria as small structures within cells. In the late 1800s, Richard Altman coined the term bioblasts, recognizing their role in cellular function. Then, in 1898, Carl Bender renamed these structures mitochondria, giving them their official name. Fast forward to the 1960s, when mitochondrial DNA was discovered by Alan Wilson and his team. This groundbreaking discovery opened up a whole new world of research, allowing us to better understand evolution, genetics, and even medicine.
Did you know that the history of mental illness reflects humanity's evolving understanding of the mind and its disorders? This fascinating journey is shaped by cultural, religious, medical, and scientific advancements. Let's take a quick overview of its development through key historical periods. 1. Prehistoric and ancient views before 500 BCE. Prehistoric beliefs. Mental illness was often attributed to supernatural causes, such as possession by spirits or curses. Trepanation. Archaeological evidence shows holes drilled into skulls, possibly as a treatment for mental illness. 2. Ancient Greece and Rome 500 BCE to 500 CE. Hippocrates. He introduced the concept of mental illness as a natural disorder, not a divine punishment. Asylums, institutions for the mentally ill were established in Greece and Rome, and that's just a glimpse into the fascinating history of mental illness.
This theory, developed by renowned researchers, explores the idea that aging is fundamentally linked to the loss of biological information over time. Let's start with the foundations of information theory, which was developed in the 1940s and 1950s by the brilliant Claude Shannon. This groundbreaking theory laid the foundation for our understanding of aging as a process of increasing noise and error in the storage, transmission, and interpretation of genetic and epigenetic information. As we age, our cells become less efficient at repairing damage, leading to a buildup of harmful mutations and a decline in the overall quality of our genetic information. This is where the concept of aging as a process of information loss comes into play. Implicit learning and its connection to information theory. Let's take a journey through time and explore the key milestones in this intriguing field. First up, let's talk about the early foundations of implicit learning, which dates back to the 1940s and 1950s. This is when the concept was first identified in behavioral studies, where individual learning was observed. Next, we move on to the 1960s and 1970s, when implicit learning started to gain traction in cognitive psychology. This is when researchers began to explore how humans process, store, and utilize information. In the 1980s, implicit learning made its way into the field of artificial intelligence, where it was used to create intelligent systems that could learn without explicit instruction. Finally, in the 21st century, implicit learning has become a vital tool in understanding how humans interact with technology, particularly in the realm of human-computer interaction. You know that the history of epigenetics is a journey that has completely transformed our understanding of how traits are passed from one generation to the next. Traditional genetics focuses on the inheritance of genetic material, or DNA, while epigenetics refers to changes in gene expression or function that don't involve changes to the underlying DNA sequence. These changes can be influenced by environmental factors and can sometimes be inherited. Now, let's take a quick look at some of the key milestones in the history of epigenetics. In the 1940s, the concept of epigenetics was first introduced by Waddington, who proposed the idea of epigenetic inheritance. In the 1950s, the term epigenetics was coined by Conrad Waddington. In the 1960s, the first evidence of epigenetic inheritance was discovered by Davidson. In the 1970s, the first evidence of epigenetic inheritance in plants was discovered by Brink. In the 1980s, the first evidence of epigenetic inheritance in animals was discovered by Riggs. In the 1990s, the first evidence of epigenetic inheritance in humans was discovered by Feinberg.
Intelligibility, as a concept, has its roots in ancient times, where philosophers began to ponder the idea of understanding, clarity, and the capacity for communication or comprehension. The term itself is derived from the Latin word intelligibilis, which means able to be understood. This concept has evolved and been applied across linguistic, philosophical, scientific, and technological fields. In the realm of linguistics, intelligibility is a key factor in communication. It refers to the degree to which a message is understood by the recipient. This concept is also closely tied to the clarity of language, ensuring that the message is clear and unambiguous. In the philosophical realm, Intelligibility has been explored in the context of knowledge and understanding. Philosophers have pondered the nature of knowledge, the conditions under which it can be acquired, and the extent to which it can be shared. In the scientific realm, intelligibility plays a crucial role in the understanding of complex systems and phenomena. Scientists strive to make their research findings intelligible to their peers and the wider public, ensuring that their work is both comprehensible and accessible. Finally, in the technological realm, intelligibility is a key consideration in the design and development of user interfaces. Designers aim to create interfaces that are easy to use and understand, ensuring that users can interact with technology in a seamless and intuitive
This
manner.
incredible creature is known for its remarkable ability to revert its life cycle, essentially allowing it to reverse aging and potentially avoid death due to old age. Let's take a closer look at the history and biology of this incredible organism. First off, the immortal jellyfish was discovered in the Mediterranean Sea in the 1880s by the German marine biologist Carl Theodor R. von Welsbach. Initially, it was classified as a species of the genus Torotopsis. However, in 2002, it was reclassified as its own species, Torotopsis dohrnii. So, what makes this jellyfish so special? Well, it's all about its life cycle. Unlike most jellyfish, which undergo a single life cycle and then die, Torotopsis dohrnii can revert its life cycle back to the polyp stage. This means that, in theory, it could potentially live forever. But that's not all. This amazing jellyfish has even been observed reverting back to the polyp stage after being fully grown and sexually mature. Talk about a mind-blowing discovery. You know that the discovery of CRISPR dates back to 1987? That's right. In 1987, a group of scientists led by Francisco Mujica stumbled upon a mysterious DNA sequence in the genomes of bacteria and archaea. They dubbed this sequence clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, or CRISPR for short. Fast forward to 2012, and a team of scientists led by Jennifer Doudna and Emmanuel Charpentier discovered that CRISPR could be harnessed as a powerful tool for genome editing. This breakthrough has opened up a whole new world of possibilities in medicine, agriculture, and biotechnology. The concept of cognitive agency has evolved over time, closely related to developments in philosophy, psychology, neuroscience, and artificial intelligence (AI). Cognitive agency refers to the capacity of an individual to act autonomously based on cognitive processes like thinking, reasoning, and decision-making. It involves self-directed action where an agent is capable of exercising control over their own behavior, goals, and the interpretation of information. Here's a brief history of cognitive agency. In the 1950s, the concept was first introduced by psychologist Donald Hebb. In the 1960s, the cognitive revolution in psychology led to the development of cognitive psychology, which focused on the study of mental processes. In the 1980s, the emergence of artificial intelligence (AI) sparked debates about the possibility of machines having cognitive agency. In the 1990s, the rise of neuroscience led to a better understanding of the brain and its role in cognitive agency. In the 2000s, the development of robotics and the increasing integration of AI into everyday life has led to ongoing discussions about the ethical implications of cognitive agency.
The red pill concept has its roots in the 1999 film The Matrix, written and directed by the Wachowskis. In the movie, the protagonist, Neo, is presented with a choice by the character Morpheus: take the red pill to see the truth about the real world, or the blue pill to remain in the illusion. This choice has become a metaphor for the pursuit of knowledge and understanding. Over time, the red pill concept has evolved and been adapted into different cultural, political, and ideological frameworks, particularly on the internet. It's been used to discuss various topics, from gender roles to conspiracy theories, representing awakening, self-improvement, and truth-seeking. However, it has also become associated with misogyny, toxic masculinity, and a rejection of modern social norms. While the red pill continues to shape online discussions about gender and relationships, its implications and impact remain controversial, especially due to the more extreme ideologies it has fostered in certain communities.
Know that the history of chromatin is intertwined with the development of our understanding of genetics, cell biology, and molecular biology. Chromatin is the material that makes up chromosomes and is composed of DNA and proteins, primarily histones, that help package the DNA in a compact form within the cell nucleus. So, let's start with the early discoveries of chromatin in the late 1800s. The term chromatin was coined in the late 19th century by the famous scientist Walter Fleming. He discovered that chromatin was the material that made up chromosomes and was composed of DNA and proteins. This discovery was a significant step in understanding the structure of chromosomes. Fast forward to the 1920s, and we have the legendary Hans Adolf Krebs, who discovered the first histone, H1. This marked a significant milestone in our understanding of the structure and function of chromatin. Scientists soon began to unravel the complex structure of chromatin. In 1928, Frederick Griffith discovered that bacteria could transform into different forms. This discovery led to the understanding that DNA was the genetic material. In the 1940s, James Watson and Francis Crick uncovered the double helix structure of DNA, which was a groundbreaking discovery in the field of molecular biology. This discovery led to the understanding that DNA was the genetic material and that chromatin was the material that made up chromosomes. In the 1950s, the Nobel Prize-winning work of James Watson, Francis Crick, and Maurice Wilkins revolutionized our understanding of the structure of DNA. This paved the way for further discoveries about chromatin and its role in the cell.
This metaphor, originating from the movie The Matrix, represents a choice to remain in ignorance and complacency, avoiding the difficult truths of life. In modern contexts, the blue pill is often used by online communities, particularly the red pill and manosphere, to criticize individuals who adhere to mainstream beliefs about gender, relationships, and society. While it's often associated with denial and self-deception, the blue pill also reflects a desire for comfort and stability. So, the next time you hear the term blue pill, remember that it's not just about denial and self-deception, it's also about the desire for comfort and stability in a complex world.
Did you know that the history of this cutting-edge field spans several key milestones, from early discoveries in genetics to the cutting-edge techniques used today? Let's take a quick look at some of these pivotal moments. First up, we have the early foundations 1900s-1950s. This era saw the discovery of Mendel's laws, which laid the groundwork for genetic engineering. In 1865, Gregor Mendel's work on inheritance patterns in pea plants led to the discovery of genetic principles like dominance, recessiveness, and segregation. Next, we have the chromosome theory of inheritance, which was introduced in the 1940s. This theory proposed that genes are located on chromosomes and that the combination of genes from both parents determines the traits of their offspring. As we move forward in time, we see the development of recombinant DNA technology in the 1970s, which allowed scientists to manipulate DNA in the lab. This was a game changer, paving the way for the genetic engineering we know today. Did you know that the term anomaly actually refers to something that deviates from the normal, expected, or standard pattern? It's a concept that has evolved across various fields, including science, statistics, astronomy, and medicine. So, let's take a journey through time and explore the history of the term anomaly. Early understanding of anomalies. Ancient times. The concept of anomaly, or deviation from the expected, has likely existed since early human observation. In ancient times, people observed patterns in nature and noticed when something didn't fit their expectations. As we move through history, we see how the concept of anomalies has evolved across different fields. For instance, in astronomy, anomalies refer to discrepancies in the predicted and observed positions of celestial bodies. In statistics, they're used to measure the extent to which data points differ from the mean or median. In medicine, anomalies can indicate abnormalities in health or disease. The Renaissance and Scientific Revolution. During the Renaissance and Scientific Revolution, scientists began to study the natural world more systematically. They created categories and standards to classify and understand phenomena. Anomalies became more important as they highlighted areas that didn't fit into these categories. Modern science and statistics. In modern science and statistics, anomalies are often seen as valuable data points that can help refine our understanding of the world. They can challenge our assumptions and help us discover new patterns and relationships.
The alpha male concept, exploring its evolution over time and how it continues to shape our understanding of leadership, masculinity, and social dynamics. So, let's dive right in. The concept of the alpha male has its roots in animal behavior, specifically in the 1930s and 1940 seconds, when ethology, the study of animal behavior, was gaining traction. Austrian zoologist Konrad Lorenz, a pioneer in this field, studied animal social structures and introduced the concept of the alpha animal in his book on aggression. In the 1960s, the term alpha male became popularized in the scientific community, and by the 1970s, it had entered mainstream culture. The idea of the alpha male was often associated with dominant males in animal groups, who were typically the first to mate and the last to be challenged. Over time, the concept of the alpha male has evolved to encompass not just animal behavior, but also human social dynamics, leadership, and masculinity. Today, the term is often used to describe men who are confident, assertive, and successful, but it's important to remember that the concept is not without its flaws and limitations.
Did you know that the concept of ecological balance became a major focus in the 20th century, emphasizing sustainable living and conservation to maintain harmony in our ecosystems? This shift in mindset is a testament to the power of balance and its impact on our planet. Modern democracies also prioritize balance, ensuring that power is distributed among different branches of government to prevent tyranny. This is a crucial aspect of maintaining a healthy society. In the realm of psychology, balance is equally important. We're encouraged to strive for balance in our work, relationships, and personal growth, as it's key to our overall well-being. The concept of balance is a central theme in contemporary culture, reflecting our ongoing struggle to maintain equilibrium between our professional and personal lives. Advances in robotics and artificial intelligence involve creating systems that achieve mechanical, algorithmic, or ethical balance. The concept of balance continues to evolve, symbolizing harmony, stability, and fairness in both tangible and abstract forms. Remember, finding balance is crucial for our physical, mental, and emotional health. So, let's all strive to achieve balance in our lives and encourage those around us to do the same. Thank you for joining us today, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. Until next time, stay balanced and purpose-driven.